regarding my daughter, Irie. We became parents a little bit later on in our life, in our early 30s, and I was a teacher for many years. And I've learned in life it truly takes a village, meaning a person in society isn't just raised by their parents. The whole community is involved with how that person develops, because everybody has little bits and pieces involved, whether you're just someone's parent or grandparent or a cousin or a relative or even just a friend. There's some involvement, and they learn and gather a small concept from you, and that's passed on and through things that they do. So anyways, we've lived in the same area for our whole life, and our families have come from here, and we've seen different generations and how they've all, come together and passed things down from one time to another. But anyways, going back to community and village and teaching, that's kind of how everybody came together in our birth. Teaching for many years, that's how I met our midwife that ended up delivering her, our lactation consultant, our birthing instructor, and that's just to start. There's just so much more that goes into it that I'd like to share, but it would take me a very long time to pick my brain and share it all with you here. So I became pregnant in November, and I didn't find out until about a little over a month later. I remember it was right after Christmas, and I started feeling sick, and that's when we realized, something was not, what's the word I want to say, in something usual. It was something different, and we weren't planning, to have kids for about another year or so. And when we found out, we didn't tell everybody right away. It did end up leaking out, but we didn't want to tell everybody right away, because we were a little concerned with some of the talks that we had with being older, and the first trimester is very crucial. Things can happen. So we stepped lightly on that, and some excited family members shared the good news. So I kind of felt like that put on a little more edge. I don't want to say pressure, because that's not what they were meaning to do. There was no expectations then, but just the fact of if something didn't go as planned, and having to go back and share that information would have been very hard. But anyways, we're very thankful the pregnancy progressed. The symptoms subsided as the pregnancy progressed. As far as illness, I learned, for me, what helped with that was certain foods that I would crave, I think helped fulfill those nauseous feelings, and keeping myself hydrated, and just, I used to eat like a lot in one sitting, and I had to learn to eat in more smaller, frequent portions. And then came the question of who was going to help us deliver her. And I had before have had many OBs, and I actually would follow a nurse practitioner around to the different OBs here in the East Valley. And I ended up hearing from my best friend, who's actually my daughter's namesake, had gone to a midwife, and she had really enjoyed her experience with the midwife. And I thought it was interesting. I wasn't quite sure the difference between a midwife and an OB. Now I do. Their training scope is different. From my understanding, a doctor, they view pregnancy as symptoms to treat. I don't want to say a disease, but it's something in the body that affects symptoms, and they know how to treat the symptoms. And I was told that a midwife, however, views pregnancy a little differently, that it's a process, it's a part of life to embrace, and the way they approach it is different, similar but different. And in my experience, going from OB to midwife and having a midwife and OB team, was that it was, I don't want to say, it was the best of both worlds. Because in our situation, we had the birth, we were promoted and supported to have the birth we wanted, and we ended up needing that medical intervention. And it was very different for me to feel interactive in my care rather than passive or be told. Not that my doctor always tells me, to be told, but I just felt for some reason, not that I had ever. Well, yeah, I had been pregnant with an OB, and how that came about was that we went to a midwife, and for insurance purposes, we weren't accepted. They accepted Blue Cross, but they did not accept Blue Cross Blue Shield. So we ended up, after our first appointment, they had to stop services with us. So I did some searching, and I had a pediatrician recommended who responded very well in emergency situations, and I was told was very supportive of the type of birth that you wanted. Because like every mother, I set forth wanting a natural childbirth, which now I interpret as unmedicated and vaginal childbirth. And I truly did not know and did not think that I would be capable of that. I had a lot of doubts in my mind. All the way up on the table, I had doubts on my mind when I was in the middle of it all. So I ended up going with this OB, and I really liked his personality. He was really cool. But what ended up happening was I was told I was O negative blood type. And I am O blood type, but I'm not O negative, I am positive. So I had a lot of concerns about the RH factor. I've known pregnancies that had complications with it. So when it ended up being, I forget how many weeks it was, and we were going to do the testing to find out whether there was the RH factor involved. Come to find out, I wasn't O negative, I was O positive, and that was just an error that I couldn't brush aside. It was something that stuck with me and ate at me. So eventually I decided that to end services with them, and then again to transfer my care over with another provider. And I decided this time that I did want a midwife. And I had family that was concerned because of family birthing experiences and stuff. With there not being, possibly a doctor present. But after doing more research, I ended up finding out that there were midwife OB team available. And so I decided to go with that. And been very happy with that decision.